What to sell in 2023? I've looked at the biggest trends from Etsy, Pinterest, Hobbycraft, eRank, and more to bring you what is my favorite video of the year. You guys really seem to like this. So, that's the time of the year where everyone is predicting what will be the hottest of the year. And do you know what? You all seem to love my annual trend rundowns. So I made this one bigger and hopefully better than ever. Trends from all the experts compiled into one ultimate guide of those trends. What will be the biggest sellers of the year? As always, I break this down into categories and overall feels. You can navigate from the chapters below this video, and I know this is going to be a big one. And you're going to want to know how to use these trends. So stay to the end for some ideas of how you can incorporate these trends into your shop. Let's start with the overall feel of the year, the zeitgeist of 2023. I'm not used to saying that. 2023 is going to be bold, bright, and in your face, fresh, retro, and hopeful. Etsy finally spotted the major trend I've been talking about for the past couple of years. I called it the rule of opposites, but Etsy and got fancy and decided to call this duality. This is the thing we've been spotting where there's no middle grounds in the trends, where we've been having the sleek, clean lines of minimalist. At the same time, up pop the clutter and natural materials of cottagecore. Colours are all the way bold, with Pantene Colour of the Year as Viva Magenta, and Etsy having Indigo and Honeycomb. Ne- Neons, Dayglow, and even UV colours are everywhere. But yes, to be fair, with Wednesday Addams just starting to trend, black and all things Gothic are trending hard again. And it's taken the dark academia with it to a more Edgar Allan Poe feel. For me, the overarching theme of the year is actually standing out and going against the establishment. This makes sense as we're at the cusp of the world changing. People want to feel something, be hopeful, and not only are they working from home, but more and more they realize they don't have to work for the man. They're breaking out with their own crafty business or side hustle. But this also comes with a real fear for money. So DIY, make, do, and mend, perfectly imperfect, handmade gifting, and not changing your whole decor or wardrobe, but pops of colour and items added to refresh what you already have. Now, let's start with looking at those trends that are dropping away. Many sellers, including my mum, have noticed a massive decline in Christmas cards in 2022. And although eRank shows that, as expected, there is a spike in searches at the end of the year, it is significantly smaller than last year. People are not sending out the hundreds of cards they used to years ago. They're still looking for quality handmade cards for loved ones. The search for handmade Christmas cards was almost as good in 2022 as in 2021. And people are searching for digital handmade cards and digital Christmas templates for their shops and for social media. Nails are getting shorter. Over the past few months, there's been a steady decline in the search for press on nails, and Etsy and Pinterest are predicting short hair and nails. Nope, I'm not cutting my hair. For the bathroom, pampering long soaks in the bath are making way for fast, energizing showers. In fact, any beauty products that save time while being a statement are popular. So many of my friends are loving eyeshadows with multichrome type pigments where one shadow blends out to multiple colors rather than spending hours blending multiple different shades. Open planned living is seeing an end finally. For the longest time, the trend has been for large open plans in our houses. But for the past few years, with people stuck in their homes, more they're looking for a change, especially if they're working from home. They want a clear divide between their working and their relaxation space. For those who can't just knock up a quick wall to follow a trend, things like room dividers and even different textures and colour palettes are being used to define the different areas. And finally, the charcuterie board and fussy tableware is declining. In fashion, don't get me wrong, with nearly 50,000 views in November, charcuterie boards are still massively popular, but they are declining. Oh, and before we move on, especially on Etsy, we're seeing massive trends in people searching for the word handmade. They're getting more than fed up of mass produced items, even on Etsy, and are specifically adding the word handmade to all sorts of searches. This has to be great news for any handmade sellers and artists. Now, for those trends, let's start with what's always trending at the start of a year. New year, new you. Yes, of course, it's always finances, self care, and budgeting. But this year, there are some fun up and coming trends. The up and coming fitness trend hitting the mainstream is primal workouts. Have you seen the people crawling about your gym like a bear or a lizard? You might be joining them soon. This is part calisthenics and a whole lot of enjoying moving. With this new trend, even if you can't think of training courses, does it not inspire you for some new planner, exercise designs, or fitness merch? And once you've done those workouts, we're still loving self care with inspiring scents and especially snuggly robes. I didn't even actually realize this fitted into the rule of opposites. But when you think about it, crawling around in the dirt and working out with trees and rocks, and then the pure white snuggly robes, complete opposites. Activewear is still everyday wear, which I am glad to hear. A new way to pamper yourself or others is what Pinterest is calling the fourth trimester. Basically, it's looking after new parents. Think any kits that can be put together to pamper or help people coping with a newborn. I know the trendy people are talking about spa items, but from visiting my friends with newborns, I'm going to say food. I've never seen a human demolish that amount of chocolate before the baby started crying. And for budgeting and financial planning, the next big trend is gamification. This is the fun process of breaking up your planning into steps, like anyone creating planners already will be doing, but focusing on making those steps include rewards when you get there. This came from how game developers create games with big rewards of beating those big bad guys to unlock the next cool level or gain some special packs. And these rewards give little dopamine boosts that pushes you on to your next goal. Also, consider planners a part of your decor. Wall planners that look great and you can really enjoy ticking off or adding pins, stickers, or magnets. I just thought about it. The real trend is actually childhood for grown ups, isn't it? Doing big, important adult tasks and getting to put a sticker on the chart, crawling around with animals, and wait till I come to the colours and clothes later on in this video. I want to quickly mention a new to me category this year, and that is digital. Of course, all the colours and styles that are trending for the year can be very important for those digital creators. Especially think of those bright colours and the colours of the year from Etsy and Pantone. Viva Magenta, Indigo, and Honeycomb. Either pops of these colours or even a fun palette with them all together. But also think when you're pulling together these, especially for social media templates, that so many people are now using their devices in dark mode. So don't forget to show how your templates will look against a dark background. And even consider designing some for dark mode where it's available on that platform. The bright colours always look amazing against black. And as we're seeing physical cards for Christmas and birthdays are getting less and less, consider card templates for people to send or tag. Let's look at those tentpole events, recurring trends that happen every year. For Valentine's, I'm still seeing adorable gnomes everywhere. Valentine gnomes came out of nowhere last year in January, and it might be worth a risk again. And Pinterest is predicting dates at the museum and aquarium and cocktails for special couple days. Mother's Day is always huge, with almost 3/4 of Etsy customers surveyed in a super secret eRank survey, which I'll be talking about in a later video. They said they would be considering buying from Etsy for Mother's Day. In the US, Mother's Day is the 14th of May, which sounds like ages away, but top tip. In the UK, Mother's Day is the 19th of March. So if you ship to the UK, then it's possible to get some sales before your competitors have even thought about it. This could boost you up in the search engines. And following on, of course, is Easter. For those spring occasions, the trends are going to be the traditional things like flowers, photography, spa days, but with personalized elements and little pops of unexpected bright colors. And if you're doing an Easter meal or a Mother's Day breakfast, then the tablewares are simple and elegant, much less clutter than in the past years. What are the colours of the year? The word to describe the colours is euphoric, taking the idea of dopamine dressing to all the colour things, bright pops of colour that make you feel great. These are bright colours, still the 90s palette, but with a bit of Y2K. Galaxies are back, but with neon and glowing elements. Anything iridescent is great too. There seems to be nothing subtle about this year's colours. Of course, with a black background to make all those brights shout. Think playful, childhood as well. Bright neon graphic prints and simple shapes, and those colours are everywhere. And of course, the colour of the year, Viva Magenta, Indigo, and Honeycomb, can all fit in with these bright palettes. But they do even look great with greens and natural colours. One of the biggest categories is always decor, and this year is no exception. With the law of opposites in full effect, there are so many different styles that will still be in this trend. The cottagecore type feel, even if it's not always called that anymore, includes mushrooms, is still everywhere. And now, just for people who are looking for a cozy home with lots of soft furnishings, fringes might not be popular in hair, but they're certainly popping up everywhere in decor. And the perfectly imperfect trend is great news for crafters. People are very much looking for things that look like they've been made by hand and not reproduced, mass manufactured. And of course, things being repaired. Wabi Sabi was a trend I mentioned in my first ever trend report, and the style of making repairs part of the design is still going strong. People are looking to repair and upcycle, so consider tutorials and materials to help people make, do, and mend. The crustacean core trend never really seemed to get out of the ground, and now it looks like it's moving more to deserts with more earthy tones and even volcanoes with lava and fiery reds. And boho 70s style wood and jungle themes are predicted to be popular, so lots of nature in the house still. But as well as the alternative of the clean lines of minimalist and mid-century modern, we're also seeing space-age metallic furniture. And as mentioned before, clear divides between working, studying and living spaces might mean different styles in different areas of an open plan room, with room dividers. For children, decor non-gendered and gender-neutral colours are popular, so branch out from those pastel blues and pinks and have fun with purples, greens, and of course brights. For pets, people are really looking for stylish, classy furniture and clothes for their pets. Predictions for the motives of the year are cherries, citrus fruit, and cabbages. One of my friends actually just put up citrus wallpaper on the wall at the top of their stairs, and it looks amazing. Now, let's look at the top predicted crafts for the year. People are still going to be starting a crafty business or side hustle, so anything that can help people with that. Supplies, tutorials, or kits could be really popular. Remember, whatever supplies you have in your country may be exotic and hard to find for other international crafters. Resin is still managing to grow in popularity, and it's such a versatile medium. People seem to be finding new ways to use it every day. Sewing is increasing in popularity, not just in decoration like embroidery and cross stitch, but in repairing and upcycling, fixing those clothes with visible decorative stitches. And everyone is still in love with knitting and crochet and macrame, snuggly jumpers, cute crochet animals, and wall hangings. But people are also wanting to learn crafts like latch hook and needle punching, and think different uses like table mats or mixed media wall hangings, including macrame elements. Although cards are declining in popularity, people are still looking for special cards and more labor intensive creation methods like quilling or origami, and calligraphy remain popular. For jewellery this year, more is more. Big, bright and stacked and layered in necklaces, bangles, earrings and rings. Boho has been a popular keyword on Etsy for years, and terms like boho bracelet and boho earrings spiked. on eRank in November 2022, at more than double the searches of 2021. The clothing category really shows the duality of the year's styles the most. We'll start with the dark. Gothic styles were already trending as an opposite to all the colours, but now with the amazing success of the show Wednesday, all things dark and Gothic are really gaining popularity. Added to that, the dark academia trend has been strong for a while and is now moving to more blacks and Edgar Allan Poe type school stuff. Expect chunky boots and floaty dresses, and come Halloween, expect many more costumes themed on the Adamses. In all colour palettes and genders, ruffles and tules, very feminine clothing is popular, including lace, ruffles, and Edwardian styles, layers, and petticoats as dresses. I used to do that. And as a contrast, also gender neutral suits with bold patterns, oversized shapeless silhouettes. A fun term from Pinterest is rom-com core, dressing like stars from your favorite rom-com. I have no idea. And childhood. Well, if you were a child of the 80s and 90s, as trends are graphic prints in the bright colours, massive bows, and puffy sleeves, the rave culture is back, so crack out the glow sticks. Another trend is outdoorsy hiking clothing, gorpcore, good old raisins and peanuts. I hadn't heard that before, as we're still loving being on the outside and taking to the hills. Our final category is scents. Again, there's actually a duality to this, fresh and clean. And think of the story behind the scent. People don't want to just know it's a clean linen smell, but a spring wash day in Tuscany. Orange, lemon, clove, and cedar wood remind people that things are clean and hygienic, but also creeping back with the 90s subculture and the trend for all things Adams is patchouli and incense, but give it a subtle, fresh twist. So, how to use these trends? Most people selling their arts and crafts don't want to jump from trend to trend. The exceptions for this are high volume shops and digital sellers. But even then, you want to look at what fits into your themes. If your target customer has for years been into minimalist, then you don't want to be jumping into the clutter of cottagecore just because it's also popular. There's rooms for all styles, and if you've found your tribe, then stay true to them. But you can use trends to be inspired. Perhaps there's room to add a few bright colours to your latest ranges, or change up some brown steampunk styles for a little more black. And even more important is to think about how you're going to be photographing for your social media. Pops of the colour of the year or other items you're photographing with your items. For example, a mid century modern bookshelf to display your items on, or a strip of on trend wallpaper behind your photographs. Show potential customers how your items can fit into their homes. But most important, I feel, is the fact that many people are looking for handmade items. So, showcasing everything personal about your creation process. What is special about you, the seller? Are your kits sustainable? Do you craft in an amazing location? What inspires you? Customers want to know you made something just for them.